fingers burnt away. It was just raw flesh. I thought, oh my God, what have I let myself in for? However, we crammed as many as we could in the car. Well, I did. And we went to a local pub. It was a revelation. Everybody in the pub clapped them on the back, said, come on, old boy, have a drink. If they couldn't drink, they gave them straws to drink through. They treated them exactly as if they were normal people, which they weren't.
This big blonde barmaid used to come round the bar, put her arm round everyone in turn and give them a kiss. That woman deserved a medal if anyone did.
I went home to my mother, burst into tears. I said, I can't do that again. She said, you bloody will. We wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for those boys. And she was right. From that moment on, I was fine.
Rudder and into a spin, pull out.
There are only a few of Mackindo's guinea pigs left today. One of them is Bill Foxley.
The Guinea Pig Club have an anthem, which we sing at our reunion each year, and the first verse goes like this. We are Mackindo's army, we are his guinea pigs, with dermatones and pedicles, glass eyes, false teeth and wigs. And when we get our discharge, we'll shout with all our might, per ardua ad astra, we would rather drink than fight.
Despite some successes in the morning, September the 15th wasn't going all the RAF's way. Around 3 o'clock, there was a second attempt at a big wing attack, this time with far less decisive results. As critics of the tactic had warned, British planes got in each other's way. The Germans, led by their top-scoring ace, Adolf Galland, made short work of 4 RAF fighters shot down in minutes. The final one was Galland's 33rd victory. But among the chaos of the day's fighting, there were 2 extraordinary episodes that stuck out. Both were to symbolise the kind of determination that helped make the RAF the force it had become. Hurricane pilot Ray Holmes chased a lone German bomber right over the centre of London. He had run out of ammunition, but refused to break off. What happened next made Battle of Britain history.
I knew now that the only way of getting this chap down was to take his tailplane off. His tailplane was looking so fragile there, and to me it looked like a model aeroplane, as if you could just chop it. And I thought my wing at that speed would go right through his tail and take the tail off. Instead of taking the piece of the tail off that I wanted to take off, it took the whole of the twin tail section.
Amazingly, the whole event was caught on film.
This is the Dornier coming down. This is the fuselage with the wingtips missing and the tail missing. And this is the tail. And they both came down together and landed on Victoria Station.
Ray Holmes managed to bail out and survive his encounter. But later that afternoon, another RAF pilot performing a similar feat of lonely heroism was less fortunate.
When we landed at Rochford, we had 3 pilots missing. And one of them was Peter. Now you're bringing back memories.
Peter Pease was Richard Hillary's closest friend on 603 Squadron and represented, I suppose, the golden youth of the British aristocracy. He was 6'3", blonde, handsome, and a devout Christian. And Hillary reports a conversation that he had with Pease after he had made some rather cynical remarks about the war and why they were fighting, in which Pease suddenly launched off to explain to Hillary the necessity of standing up to the Nazis and how, if they failed, everything good and true and beautiful in the world would be annulled, and that it was for deep moral reasons that the Nazis had to be fought.
Peter Pease did a head-on attack with a Heinkel 111. And the front gunner of the Heinkel 111 got him.
One of the Germans saw a lone Spitfire suddenly dive through the clouds in front and head straight for his formation in a head-on attack, the most dangerous type of attack that you could make. It was by itself. It started opening fire, and then he noticed that there was a 109 on its tail, and the 109 opened fire on the Spitfire. To his astonishment, the Spitfire took no evasive action. It didn't try to dive away or to circle or to break off the attack, but ignored the fire from behind it and carried on straight into the formation of Heinkel's, firing its guns all the time until it went through the formation. He reports turned over on its back, starting to smoke, and dived away, where it eventually crashed. And that, it turns out, was Peter Pease, carrying out a more or less suicidal lone attack on a large formation of bombers, all alone, with a 109 on his tail, that he decided to ignore.
By the end of September the 15th, the Germans had flown 1,300 sorties, the British just over 1,000. The day's engagements had taken the RAF and the Luftwaffe to their very limits. Now all that remained to do was decide who had won. Britain woke up the next day to screaming headlines. 185 German planes destroyed, the Luftwaffe routed, the RAF triumphant. The Germans retaliated with their own equally inflated figures. The genuine numbers were 56 German aircraft destroyed versus 28 RAF. It wasn't Fighter Command's biggest tally of the battle, but it was their most significant. The ratio of 2 to 1 tells its own story. The Luftwaffe weren't even close.
The real significance of September the 15th is that it was a psychological turning point, because it finally revealed to everybody, particularly the decision makers on both sides, what had been going on for the previous 2 or 3 weeks, which was that the Luftwaffe had been getting nowhere.
Hitler could see it, even if Goering could not. 2 days later, he shelved his invasion plans. Though Churchill wouldn't know it for some time yet, his great gamble had paid off. The RAF had saved Britain from the fate suffered by Poland, France, and the Low Countries. Sporadic dogfights would continue, but by the end of October, even these had petered out. The Battle of Britain was over.
We stopped them from achieving their aim. That was what was in our mind. Stop them from getting air superiority so that they could have brought their invasion barges under cover of the Luftwaffe across the Channel.
The Germans lost 500 of their fighter pilots. They also lost about getting on for 2,000 of their bomber crews, because when you shot down a bomber, you shot down 4 people, of course. And they simply ran out of people.
It really ranks with the Armada and whatever you like, Agincourt and so on, the victories of the few against the many.
The Battle of Britain, from our side, it was a complete waste of time.